Isn't this beautiful? How would you like to have this in your living room? My name is Aurele de Brosse, and I'd like to teach you how to do needlepoint, how to create this beautiful masterpiece. All you need to know is how to do a slant stitch. So, let's get on with it. Let's learn to needlepoint. The beautiful flower arrangement in needlepoint that we saw on the wall, it's a tapestry, and this is also a tapestry. It's a piece of canvas, and we've covered the whole canvas with wool, with different colors, and we follow the pattern, or we have designed our own pattern. Your work in the front of your canvas should be really neat, and also the back, which is also very neat. You don't want those little pieces of ends of yarn sticking out. So, a beautiful needlepoint, beautiful work. You don't have to block it. It's already blocked. When you work with a needlepoint, usually you'll work on a loom. This is a portable loom with a needlepoint. It's pinned on a piece of canvas on the wool, on the wooden bar, and it's rolled to make tight. This is a portable one. You use that so you can carry on, take it on a train with you on the buses, in the car, take it camping, and you work. But if you're at home, you'd like a real beautiful loom. This one, I sit at it, and you work on the loom. All your needlepoint is one stitch, the slant stitch. So this is just a pattern I've been doing, just to show you how easy it is. You can draw on a piece of canvas, and then follow your pattern, and use the different colors. What I'm going to do is show you how to start using a color in your yarn. I have a piece of yarn, and I'm going to thread that piece with a needle. Again, these are tapestry needles. They're blunt end needles and have a very large head on the needle. If the camera can pick this up, this is a very large head needle and a blunt needle. Now, to thread your needle again, just hold it between your fingers, pull the thread with your needle, squeeze it tight, and thread your yarn in your needle. Okay? Now, to start doing needlepoint, again, I have to emphasize, you do not have any knots in your work, either on the back side or the front side. There's never a knot in your work. So if I'm going to thread what in this canvas, there's 2 strands vertical and 2 strands horizontal, and we're going to thread the wool in one corner and cross over 2 threads. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the yarn and leave about a little section like this in the back, okay, and hold it with one finger. Then go down, crisscross to the other end and pull the yarn through. Now in the back, now if I'm going to bring the needle to the other corner. Now in the back, what I want to do is bring the wool down and lock in that strand. You lock it in, and you do 3 loops over the strand. So that locks it in. Again, what I'm doing is a slant stitch. It's one crisscross on the different strand of the canvas. There's 2. I've done a second one. Let's bring the needle up, through, pull it a bit, and then I can feel it in the, see, I've done it twice, and I've hooked that little strand of yarn. Again. And just bring your needle up. Some people, if you're accustomed, and you'll just go down and bring your needle up. I do not suggest to do that, because what you're going to do is you're pulling the yarn and you're threading the wool. Because by the time you do about 20 or 30 stitches, your yarn gets very thin and it won't cover the canvas. When you're selecting a certain amount of yarn, use just a short section so you don't fray your yarn by doing too many stitches. Again, let's do another one. Your needle down, pull it through, and again, bring it up. Now this is canvas I'm holding in my hand. So now that we've done this, I'll move this to the side, and we're going to talk about the yarn that you need to work a piece of tapestry. The yarn comes in many sizes. It comes in a small skein like this, or a larger skein, or I have here some very large skeins of wool. The tapestry yarn is a 4-ply yarn. If I were to take this apart, you have 4 small strands of pure wool twisted together to give you that real strong packed wool. So it comes in many sizes, small little skeins. You buy little skeins of yarn because you want just a perfect color. You want, let's say your canvas has a lot of details and you'd like to have a lot of colors, you buy in a small skein. But if you're going to do a background which has a lot of color, then you need larger skeins. Each little skein has a dye lot. That is very important, because if you're going to have a lot of yarn of the same color, you need a large spool and you need to know the dye lot. So now what I want to do is, on this canvas, I want to do just a little section, because I want to go around. On the other canvas, I did just a straight line. I showed you how to start. Now I'm going to start and do a little corner. So I'm going to pick just the green color. And if you notice, in my flower, I have 4 different greens. So on here, I have 4 different greens. It's all pre-cut. So now all I need is a light green. Now, it's very important to buy all the yarn all at the same time, because the dye lots is very important. So if you're going to use many different colors, buy all the yarn for your tapestry at the same time. It's very important. So now I'm going to thread my needle. Again, just squeeze it between your fingers and push the head through the wool and thread your wool. The light green I'm going to do with this piece. So like on the other canvas, I thread it through. I'm going to keep a little section underneath with my finger, then thread down, pull, and bring my needle up, and thread again. Now I've got one hand on top, one underneath. Now I can work individually. This is much easier, faster, and then you don't squeeze your canvas too much. When you're doing the work, you are the artist. You are designing the colors, because the picture on the canvas is very poor. You can go vertical, horizontal, left to right. What I'm doing is I'm just filling in. Now what you have to do is make sure that you don't jump from one place to another, have a long piece of wool underneath. What you want to do is try to go from one section to another in a short point. Now I've got 4 more stitches to do to finish this pattern, or this little flower here. 1 more, and no, I think I'm going to do 1 more I'm designing, and I need that. So there, this is a beautiful little green flower. Now let's change color. let's get to a darker color and start the other side of the flower. I picked out a different color, and now I'm threading my needle, pull it through, and again, no knots in your yarn, and what I'm doing, I'm pulling my yarn, I gotta hold it, make sure that I hold it, I can feel it, so now I'm going to lock it in. There, my color, and then I got to do 2 more. Make sure you have that piece of yarn inside 2 or 3 times. A couple more stitches. It's a very small piece of green that I'm doing. It's a tip of a flower, a tip of a leaf. This is 1. And when you're doing this, when you're pulling your yarn, make sure that the yarn always has a nice twist to it, because you have to turn your yarn and keep it twisted. Never leave it untwist because it'll fray. This is my last stitch. Now I'm going to flip my canvas over, and now what we have to do is put the needle through 3 or 4 stitches, pull the yarn through, and it's locked, and you cut the yarn. The canvas, I have to explain a little bit about the canvas. Canvases are very stiff because they are starched. When you're doing all this work, all you're doing is you're locking your yarn in. And then after the canvas, when you're all finished, we block a canvas. So when we steam it, all that starch sticks to the yarn and the canvas, and it becomes one. So then that's why you have to make sure that your yarn, when you're doing your stitches, not to have it too tight, otherwise you'll shift your canvas, and once you block it, it'll be pulling the yarn and you'll have holes through your yarn between the stitches. So when the canvas is steamed, the starch glues the wool to the canvas. Now we've finished a small pattern of the green leaves. So what I'd like to show you is that most of the work done on a canvas is a slant stitch from corner to corner. But here I want to show you that you can do all kinds of different stitches on a canvas if you want to do a picture. You have the up and down stitch, which is called the gobelin stitch, and all the basket weave, and there's all kinds of stitches. But mainly on the canvas, you always do a slant stitch. It fills in the yarn better, and most of your pictures that you have on the wall or hanging, they're mostly all done with the slant stitch. Needlepoint is a very traditional art. Some people used to do that as wall hangings to cover the walls of castles, and sometimes they would just have a small picture, or they would even make a huge canvas and cover a whole wall. And sometime when they did a canvas, they would cover chairs or other things needed around the house. But mainly tapestries were for wall hanging. Now that I've showed you the basic techniques in needlepoint, how to do the slant stitch, how to start and finish, now all I recommend is to get a small kit, practice a bit, and then you can do beautiful masterpieces in a very short time. My name is Aurele de la Brosse. Keep your hands busy.
I have often said, yes, you can learn new skills from a book. However,
With the Learn To series, you now have a practical, hands-on video that you can rewind, pause, and watch over and over again. Our family of programs is always growing, and I hope you'll join me in learning to knit, crochet, needlepoint, and many more crafts. Each video gives you a step-by-step instruction on how to create beautiful handmade treasures. Till next time, take care and keep your hands busy.